Good morning, everybody. It is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and it's about 6 in the morning. The sun has just come up. I am setting up my farm stand for the day, and it's really got me thinking about where does our food come from. We have raised most of our vegetables and berries, limited fruit for decades, and it wasn't until recently that I went back to reading labels, and I've got to tell you folks, I am just discouraged by what I found. I'm not sure if manufacturers need to release more information about what is in their product, or if it's always been in there and we just didn't know. But the reality is we need to do better. I'm talking Jim and myself, but so many people don't understand what's going on, and that it just angers me when I start reading labels. So one of the things we are going to do is to start raising more of our food, making our own mixes, and coming up with healthier solutions that are whole foods. When our children were young, I did far better at making sure they were only eating healthy. It was easier back then. First off, we were pretty poor, so I made things from scratch because it was least expensive. But the kids left home, and all of a sudden, we started doing little changes for convenience. Buying cake mixes, buying items from the bakery, buying a rotisserie chicken here or there, eating out, until I started researching what all of those things had in them. Is our food worse than it was 30 years ago, or are we just more aware? There are two different subscribers I have on my channel. There are the ones that are very similar to us who are looking for healthier ways to take care of our family. I raise organic foods, I buy organic dairy in the store, and I always look for the healthiest choice when I am shopping in a store, but it's not always that easy. The other types of subscribers I have are the moms and the dads who are struggling just to put food on the table. And my heart goes out to them because honestly, that was us when we first got married. We didn't have a lot of money. We were working so many jobs just to make ends meet. And for us, we learned that gardening was a way to save money on our food, but lots of people can't do that. And so I give lots of tips about how to buy food in dollar stores. You know, it's not the best food, but you need something in your belly. And so it takes steps. Make sure your kids are fed and then start working towards feeding them better. But at this point, you need food. And so I struggle with those two very things. How can I teach others to provide the healthiest foods that they can eat, to preserve, to grow, and how to feed your family the least expensive way? And those two things do not go hand in hand. In the past, when I felt like I was making good choices, now here I am wondering if it really was. And so I'm hoping to, start teaching people a little bit of what I know. I don't know everything, but I've learned a whole lot in the last few weeks alone. So come along for the ride and we'll see what we can do to make sure we are eating the best food possible. Once a teacher, always a teacher. This is inside my farm stand. Grab a book. Come on in the Snoopy house and read. What opened my eyes recently is right here. I do a lot of vacuum sealing. I firmly believe in it. It extends the life of your products, especially your dried goods. And so I had a lot of subscribers asking for directions on how to vacuum seal their baking mixes. And I'm like, oh, okay. Honestly, I hadn't bought baking mixes in a long time. So I was like, well, I'll grab a couple cake mixes. And that's what I did. These were on sale. And so I grabbed 3 and I thought, oh, well, this will work fine. And then I started reading the labels. Contains bioengineered food ingredients. What in the world does that even mean? That is when I started to do the research, and I found out that just a little over a year and a half ago, they changed the labeling guidelines. And at that point, manufacturers were required on January 1st, 2022, to put whether it had bioengineered food ingredients in it. And what is bioengineered food ingredients? Basically, it's a food that can't be made without being altered. It's as simple as that. For me, it means it was made in a lab somewhere. And although there is plenty of research saying, oh, it's fine for you, I've heard that line before, and I'm not buying it. I don't want bioengineered food ingredients. So I headed back to the store and I thought, well, I'll purchase some items that aren't bioengineered and I'll show them in my vacuum sealing video. And then that way, that's what we're actually eating. So it'll work out in the end. And so I found another cake mix and I'm like, well, perfect, yellow cake mix. And so I started looking on the box and I'm like, all right, it does not say bioengineered. I'm like, perfect, this is great. And so I bought a bunch of them. In fact, they had some on sale. So I ended up buying 4 boxes of these. I'm like, this is great. Until I started doing more research. See that label right there? If you scan that, it will take you to a website that tells you it is bioengineered. And here I was thinking, ooh, I found one that isn't. This is where it gets tricky. There are 4 ways they need to put it on their label. They can put the words bioengineered. They can put a picture with the words bioengineered. They can put scan here for more food information, which is exactly what is here. Or they can simply say, call the following number. And so I feel like I was taken advantage of. Here I thought I was buying something that was a little bit better. And the reality is it's exactly the same thing. First off, being somebody pushing 60, I'm like, how in the world do I scan this to even get information? Here is the steps you need to take. You open up your camera, you hold it over that square label, and see, I took a picture, that didn't do anything. Suddenly, a yellow box came around it, and I clicked on the box. That took me to the website that gave all the information on the food. At this point, I was a little discouraged. That is not even reading the ingredients to look at dye colors or extra additives. That's just telling you if it's been bioengineered. So I started going through my products, and what I found is all of these have been altered. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? I would love to make everything from scratch, but how do you start that when you haven't done it in so long? And if all of these are indeed bioengineered, what about the ingredients? That's what it is. It's the ingredients in the cake mix. Can I even make a food that doesn't have it in it? I did find a couple brands that are hopeful. I'm not 100% sure they're not bioengineered either. But when I look at the Ghirardelli, I'm pretty impressed. I can go down through, I can look at the ingredients. And then when I go to the bottom, it does not show any of those 4 things that are required. Does that mean it's not bioengineered? It means it may not be. The difference is the foods had to be relabeled a little over a year ago. If this was made before then, it wouldn't have that label on there. This is another one. This I bought from Aldi. And again, there is nothing on there that says that it is bioengineered, GMO'd, or anything else. I had never seen this brand, but when I looked at this one also looks like it's clean. And that's the term that I'm going to use now. It looks clean. It's just saying sugar, flour, milk, salt, cornstarch, cinnamon. But there's no symbol on there saying that it's bioengineered. The only way I have found to be 100% assured that you do not have GMO or bioengineered products is to buy organic. And the problem with that, it is so expensive. So what's a person to do? At this point, I'm going back to the basics and I'm going to start trying to make everything clean again. It starts by reading labels. So here we are 14 hours later, right where we began this talk, at my farm stand by the road. And I am up for this challenge. I am ready to do better, to learn how to make more foods from scratch. Are you willing to join me in this adventure? If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. And you have a blessed day. Bye-bye, everybody.